The hidden truth between Matteo Guendouzi and Mikel Arteta. That is right, lads, we apparently have a bit of beef in the Arsenal camp, because according to many outlets there apparently is a bit of friction between Arsenal midfielder Matteo Guendouzi and Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta. Now of course this all started off when Arsenal played Brighton a week ago, and as we all unfortunately remember, that was the same game when Neil Maupay embarrassed Arsenal Football Club. And of course, after scoring the winning goal and injuring Bernd Leno, Matteo Guendouzi was one of the Arsenal players that went over to confront him, to a point where he was even strangling him, and due to those actions Mikel Arteta chose to leave out Matteo Guendouzi for the next Arsenal matchday squad. And according to reports coming from L'Equipe in France, after a meeting between Matteo Guendouzi and Mikel Arteta, Guendouzi has made it clear that he's willing to leave Arsenal Football Club. And so of course, with Matteo Guendouzi being one of Arsenal's star young players, the fact that he could all of a sudden be leaving Arsenal really does pose a question. What exactly is going on between Mikel Arteta and Matteo Guendouzi? And so with that being said, guys, let's get into today's video and let's discuss Matteo Guendouzi and Mikel Arteta, and most importantly, the hidden truth about the situation. Of course, with Arsenal playing Sheffield United just tomorrow, normally this would be a predicted lineup video, but today, lads, your boy has come with something a bit more tasty for you guys. So go down there, grab yourself a bit of popcorn, get yourself a drink, because after all, who doesn't enjoy a cheeky little bit of drama? Yo, what is on, guys? My name is Spouse and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, lads, we are back again to discuss Arsenal Football Club, and in particular Matteo Guendouzi and Mikel Arteta, because that is right, according to reports coming out of L'Equipe in France, they are claiming that Matteo Guendouzi has made it clear to Arsenal and Mikel Arteta that he is willing to leave Arsenal Football Club. Yes, you heard that right. The player that a lot of Arsenal fans like myself think is the guy for the future, a guy who's going to be a future superstar for the Arsenal. Yeah, apparently out of absolutely nowhere, he could be on his way out of the Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal Football Club, please just explain to me, what on earth is going on? But with that being said, guys, before we get into the video itself, make sure to go down there and smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments on Matteo Guendouzi, your thoughts on the situation. Would you sell him? Would you keep him? Make sure to follow all my social media, my Twitter, my Instagram, and also follow my group channel, The Offsides. The links are in the description. But with that being said, guys, let's get into this drama and let's discuss Matteo Guendouzi and Mikel Arteta, lads, and most importantly, the hidden truth about what exactly is going on. Let's get into the drama, lads. So starting off, lads, I'm going to talk about the winter break fight. That is right, lads, apparently this is something that is rooted a bit further back, because that is right, back in January when Arsenal were on their winter break in Dubai, there was a lot of very interesting reports coming out of it, and in one particular article they claimed that Matteo Guendouzi and Mikel Arteta clashed on the training ground. A bit of beef, lads. And according to the same reports, they also claimed Arteta was not a fan of Guendouzi's body language and his attitude either. And so after coming back from the winter break in the first game back, Mikel Arteta chose to leave out Matteo Guendouzi from the matchday squad. And so then when he was asked about the absence of Matteo Guendouzi, he said the reason is that the players, who in my opinion are training better, behaving better, and are more applied to deliver on the pitch what we want, are the players that are selected. So what Mikel Arteta is saying there, lads, is he chose to leave out Matteo Guendouzi because his behaviour and his training was not good enough. And so that was almost the first straw in the Guendouzi Arteta saga. And to be fair, lads, I think it showed exactly after that as well, because so far under Mikel Arteta's reign at Arsenal, out of the 12 Premier League games, Guendouzi has only started 4 of them. And of course 2 of them are the past 2 games. And for me, lads, that's a very massive thing, because under Arsenal's previous manager Unai Emery, Matteo Guendouzi was a very key player. In fact, this season under Emery, the man started 13 games. He's only started 4 under Arteta. And so what Guendouzi's gone from is being a very important player for the Arsenal first team under Unai Emery to now being a player mostly on the Arsenal bench under Mikel Arteta. And so that of course is a massive talking point, because let's not forget, lads, prior to Mikel Arteta coming to the Arsenal, Guendouzi was one of our best players of the season at that point. Of course, he had that stunning game against Aston Villa and the exceptional North London derby as well. And so for me, it was a bit weird to see Arteta completely leave out Guendouzi when Arsenal right now are not blessed with the best midfielders anyways. I think it's very clear to see Arteta and Guendouzi right now, as things stand, are not getting on. And so let's move on to the next part of the saga, the Neil Maupay situation. Neil Maupay, what exactly have you done to my club? Because of course what I'm referring to is Arsenal's game against Brighton only a week ago. That of course was a game that Arsenal needed to win, and Arsenal ended up losing in the 90th minute as Neil Maupay, the same guy who injured Arsenal goalkeeper Bernd Leno, scored the winning goal. Now of course we all saw the picture of Bernd Leno going off the pitch and pointing to Neil Maupay, almost blaming him for his injury. A lot of the Arsenal players were trying to get into Neil Maupay, and according to reports coming out of the game, one of those players in particular was Matteo Guendouzi, and allegedly during the game what he was saying to Neil Maupay was he was boasting about his current wages at the Arsenal, which of course first and first, let's get it straight, it's nothing confirmed. But to be fair, now that I think about it and what Neil Maupay said after the game, his quotes become a lot more interesting, because what he said after the game was certain Arsenal players need to learn a bit of humility. And so of course if Guendouzi was then actually boasting about his financial situation to Neil Maupay, the whole thing about humility makes a lot more sense. And Matteo, as much as I love you as a player, when you're saying things like that, even I can't defend that, bro. And so of course after Neil Maupay scored the winning goal for Brighton, we all saw the Arsenal players confront him. And in terms of Matteo Guendouzi, he was seen to go up to Neil Maupay and even strangle him for a second. And then of course after the game, Mikel Arteta came out into the public and said he will deal with this issue internally. In terms of the FA, they chose not to discipline Matteo Guendouzi. So going into the Southampton game, he was fit, he was ready, and he was available to play. And a lot of fans, including myself, expected him to start. And so then come match day, Mikel Arteta actually then chose to leave Guendouzi not only out of the starting lineup, but out of the match day squad. Now that's a bit mad, I can't lie. And I even mentioned this in the 5 things you missed video where I said where exactly was Guendouzi, I need to know reasons why. And now with all these reports coming out from L'Equipe and so, it is all starting to make sense. Because of course after the Southampton game, when Arteta was questioned about Matteo Guendouzi, he said once again he will deal with issues internally. But of course by the use of the word issue, he's clearly indicating something has happened. And so of course then yesterday when the reports dropped from L'Equipe saying that Guendouzi had made it clear that he actually wants to leave Arsenal Football Club, as much as part of me wants to believe this is just a rumour, part of me thinks maybe this has a bit of truth behind it. Because then if you look into certain things like the winter break fight, the bust up and all the things that happened there, as well as starting only 4 games under Arteta, and also with Arteta drastically reducing the numbers of Guendouzi playing, I hate to say it lads, but it's all starting to add up now. And even if it's not actually as bad as it seems, something is definitely not right. So that moves us on to the third thing I want to talk about, and that is Matteo Guendouzi's contract running out in 2022. That is right lads, Matteo Guendouzi only has 2 years left on his current contract, which is a very massive thing because a lot of Arsenal fans have actually not even noticed this. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, up until yesterday, even I didn't know about this. And so now that you think about it, with Guendouzi only having 2 years left on his contract, and the fact that under Arteta things are just not working out, if you now properly think about it, a potential exit isn't too far out of the window. Because come the end of this current season, if Matteo Guendouzi chooses not to extend his contract, that means Arsenal once again in that boat where players are running down their contracts and therefore you can't get the money for them. And also lads, you have to look at it from Matteo Guendouzi's side. The guy has gone from being a first team regular, a guy who starts most games for Arsenal under Unai Emery, to a guy who right now barely starts under Mikel Arteta and sometimes isn't even in the matchday squad. I mean, it's not like he's had a season where he's been really bad. He was having a very good season up until Mikel Arteta joined the Arsenal. And so once again, linking back to the L'Equipe article, they claim Matteo Guendouzi currently claims his Arsenal career and his footballing career is in a bit of regression, because of course this is the same guy who up until November was even in the France squad, but right now as things stands he wouldn't even get near that France squad because he is simply not playing enough minutes for the Arsenal. And so of course when you're not having enough minutes, that then really affects your playing ability. And in terms of Guendouzi, of course, as you know, he's a very ambitious guy and he wants to make the France squad for next year's Euros. And as things currently stand, the way it's going, Guendouzi will not be a part of that squad. And so now that I'm thinking about it, with Arsenal needing the cash, with Matteo Guendouzi looking like a player who Arteta simply does not like when it comes to his attitude, when it comes to his commitment and his body language. Because make no mistake, in terms of a player, the man is his top baller. But then if you also think about the fact that Arsenal are going to need the money, and of course with the coronavirus effect on the transfer market and Arsenal not making the Champions League, we are not going to have a lot of money. And for Arsenal to then generate that money, we're going to have to sell a few players. And so with Guendouzi being a younger player with 2 years left on his contract, if things don't work out and Guendouzi doesn't sign that new contract, for me lads, it then becomes in a weird way a no-brainer. You then have to sell Matteo Guendouzi. Yes, you heard that right. Matteo Guendouzi could be leaving Arsenal Football Club. This is a guy who I absolutely adore as a player. He's a player who, make no mistake, I want to see remain at the Arsenal. He's a player who I think has the ability to be a future Arsenal captain, and I'm not over exaggerating. In terms of me and his playing ability, I see a player who is a potential superstar midfielder. He has all the attributes and all the ability to be a top midfielder. I mean, make no mistake, the guy is 20 years of age, he's come into the Premier League, and his first season he was an absolute revelation. And even in this season when he was playing the minutes, he was looking like a very good player. So in terms of my personal thoughts, of course, as much as I want to keep him, it is not my personal decision. And so in terms of Mikel Arteta, if he wants to then let go Matteo Guendouzi, I can do nothing about it. Because of course, in terms of Guendouzi, I am not seeing him every single day on training ground and what he does, how his body language is and how his attitude is. And I think in terms of Mikel Arteta, he has made it very clear coming to Arsenal, and attitude is a very key thing for him. And also lads, it goes back to the thing, no single player is bigger than Arsenal Football Club, as good as he is. So a lot of fans are even saying you could look at this as a bit of a Coutinho moment, because of course what we are referring to is a Liverpool situation where they chose to let go of their star player Felipe Coutinho for big money to Barcelona because the guy didn't want to be there. Now of course, as time has progressed, as you've seen, Liverpool spent that money better. They got Van Dijk, they got Alisson, and they won a Premier League title as well as a cheeky little Champions League. So then in a weird way, could Arsenal selling Matteo Guendouzi be our Felipe Coutinho moment? But yeah, in terms of me personally, I'll make it clear once again, I would like to see Matteo Guendouzi stay at Arsenal, and I want things to work out. But as I will say it once again, Arteta is the guy to make the choice, and if he doesn't like him, and if he does not see him part of the future, Ale Matteo, I love you my bro, but it might be time to go. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm saying it, I don't know what's happening, and I'm really bamboozled. But yeah, in terms of the hidden truth between Matteo Guendouzi and Mikel Arteta, I think it's very clear. Things are just not working out at the moment. They might work out in the future, but as of right now, there is a bit of drama. Fingers crossed though lads, it all works out and we all live happily ever after. But with that being said guys, I am going to end the video there. Of course, if you have enjoyed the video, make sure to go down there and smash a like on the video, and also do subscribe channel if you are new as well. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on Matteo Guendouzi, on your thoughts on the situation, and would you sell him, would you keep him, or would you loan him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to follow all my social media, my Twitter, my Instagram, and subscribe to my group channel, The Offsiders. The links are all in the description. But with that being said guys, I am going to end the video there and there. In today's video lads, we have discussed Mikel Arteta and Matteo Guendouzi and the hidden truth about what is going on, and the truth of the matter of fact is things are not working out now, but fingers crossed they do work out in the future. With that being said guys, I'll see you next time in a bit.